Hello Marvel Legends, it is time for another Legends Legacy review, but I'm doing something a bit different today. I'm going to do a little experiment. I'm releasing two videos together today. One is going to be an old school Legends Legacy review, doing what I normally do, chronologically going through my Legends collection, and the other one is going to be a Legends Legacy style review of a brand new figure. And I want to see which one gets most clicks. What are you guys most interested in seeing? I always thought it was redundant for me to do reviews of new figures because in the UK we get them later than everyone else. So by the time I'm doing a review, you've already seen like 10,000 reviews of this figure from all the regular, reviewers online. So I'm gonna see if people still want to get like a review that's of a new figure that's like still 6 months later than most people do. We're gonna find out. So after this review, there's the Symbiote Miles Morales review, which you can click on if you're interested. But in the meantime, we are here to discuss the Chameleon from the Rhino Wave. Now, this review itself might be a little bit snake bit because with the lighting I've got here, when I move the Chameleon close to the camera, his face disappears. How about that? I tell you what, I'm going to pause and just play around with this little light and see if I can get things fixed. All right, I think this is going to work a little bit more effectively. Here is, ladies and gentlemen, the Chameleon. I was going to say Sergey, but no, because that's one of the Cravens. In fact, isn't that Craven the Hunter, Sergey Kravenov? Either way, he's like the Hunter family's, the Kravenov family's butler, was sort of what he was originally introduced as, or like that was his backstory. So he's always been serving the Kravenov family. But of course, he is a man in his own right. He is the supervillain, master of disguise, the Chameleon, who's got sort of an interesting backstory, lineage. He is as old school Spider-Man villains get. He's been there right from the start. So he is kind of essential, but he's not one of the more glamorous Spider-Man villains. He doesn't have a cool gimmick like Dr. Octopus or Sandman or the Green Goblin. He's just a dude who can look like any other dude. And that's about it. So that's probably why we haven't seen him. That's why we haven't seen him, I imagine, in like any films or anything, because it's just like, that's not exciting. You don't want to put that on a poster. Oh, it's a guy with a white face. And that's the other question for me. What's the deal with Chameleon? Is this white face his face, or is this a mask that he puts on? Because sometimes artists will draw the mask getting ripped and it's a human face underneath. Other times it's like he'll be in Ravencroft in a padded cell, but he's still got his white face, and it's like, well, surely they would have taken that mask off of him if it was a mask. So what's the deal here? Is this the Chameleon's face, or is it a mask? And if it is just a mask that he projects holograms on, it's not really a master of disguise, is it? It's just anyone could wear a mask and project a hologram on it. Get out of here. But still, that notwithstanding, he's had some really interesting stories. Whenever you have someone who could conceivably be anyone else, that gives you a lot of room for, interesting tales. I first met this guy when he was revealed as the mastermind behind the Peter Parker fake parents, which was a really cool. The story was stupid, but the revenge of Peter Parker was awesome because basically Peter goes crazy from this, and he's just out for blood, and he's out for the Chameleon. So basically, the whole storyline, I think it's called Pursuit, and one of the titles is called, Beware the Rage of a Desperate Man. It's like, ho. So Chameleon really gets put through the ringer. And he gets driven to insanity because he's already losing his marbles slightly from the death of Kraven the Hunter. And basically he eventually gets locked up in Ravencroft, and his mind is completely fractured, and he's changing from himself to Kraven and back again. He doesn't know what's what, which again lends credence to the idea that this is not just a mask and a holographic projector, because why would they let him keep that? So anyway, the figure itself. Oh, actually, just one other thing. They brought him back. He got better. He was mad, but he got better. And then in Brand New Day, he's one of the primary initial villains in Brand New Day. And he has this whole Machiavellian sort of thing where in order to take someone's identity, he has to kidnap them and then murder them. And then he dissolves their body in acid and makes a rubber mask that he pulls over. And it's like, we need some consistency with what the Chameleon is and how he does what he does, but that's a video for another day. The figure is a okay figure. There's not really much to it. It's just the normal suit body with another head. But where you get your bang for your buck, of course, is with the extras. We have 2 extra heads, and of course one of them I've used for my J. Jonah Jameson here. We get the Jameson head, which is obviously so good, Hasbro is still using it for their new Jameson figure. This Jameson I had put together by a buddy of mine. It's the ultimate kit bash, because we've got about 6 elements in here. We got the Jameson head, we got the claw MCU body, we got the forearms from Six-Armed Spider-Man, we got the hands from Shang-Chi, and we got the Daily Bugle from Gwen Stacy. So there is a lot going on here, but it makes for an awesome kit bash figure. So when the new retro JJ comes out, of course I'll get him, but I will be really happy to keep this guy for my modern Spider-Man display. Back to Chameleon, he also has a Hammerhead head, which I feel is kind of superfluous. Because Hammerhead is supposed to be like a big bruiser kind of thug kind of character. And this body is way too small for Hammerhead. So I've never used that head. But for Chameleon, it's perfect. I like how Chameleon is depicted in the comics as more of a mobster, drug runner, gun runner kind of guy. He's not wearing like his crazy purple and pink kind of costume from the animated cartoon. Because how are you going to spy in that? It's not exactly inconspicuous, but still, this guy looks decent. He's not an amazing figure to have on the shelf because he's just a guy in a suit, really. It's like Santa Claus at the mall. That's just a guy in a suit. Name that film. But, you know, he's an essential Spider-Man villain, so he's got to be on there in your collection. He was a grail for the longest time for me because I started collecting just after his wave was kind of came and went. And of course, everyone bought multiple Chameleons so they could have Chameleon, JJ, and Hammerhead. And I was like, I haven't even got one. Come on, guys, help a brother out. Eventually, I got one from America, but it was worth it because he is an essential character, and the suit body is nice. It's got the soft plastic jacket, the soft plastic tie, so there's more to it. And also, he's got accessories. He's got the Tommy gun. He's got like a handgun as well, and he's got like a laser gun. And I've distributed the handgun and the laser gun amongst different figures. I think my Nuke has sort of the laser type, grenade launcher type gun, and goodness only knows who has the pistol. But Chameleon, I think, being a gangster, looks best with his classic gangster type weapon here. So this is how Chameleon looks in my hand. Let's see how he stacks up in comparisons to these other figures. So here is Chameleon. Here he is next to Pizza Spider-Man. Here he is next to the man for whom he buttles. Here he is next to J. Jonah Jameson. Here he is with the Green Goblin. And here's the good old class photo. So you see that as a classic sort of retro Spider-Man looking lineup there. I dig these guys. That's why they're all on my primary Spider-Man shelf. So yeah, I do like this guy. But again, he's not spectacular. So let's see where he stands on the Legends Legacy ranking. Okay, so the Chameleon is a solid but unspectacular figure, so I can't go too high with him because he's not that exciting to have on the shelf. However, he does come with all these extras which give him so much added value. The Hammerhead head is a little superfluous, but the Jameson head really ratchets up the value. Plus the weapons as well, and the fact that the Chameleon head sculpt is pretty decent in itself, I'm going to have to put him above Superior Venom, but below Lady Beetle, a solid number 12 in the Legends Legacy ranking. So yeah, basic but solid. A good figure, well worth having with a lot of optional extras. So with that all in mind, I give this figure a sub rating of...
It's good! It is very good, Marilyn. But it's not great.
And that concludes our look at Chameleon. A decent figure, a solid figure. Not spectacular, but he does exactly what he needs to do. Folks, I hope you enjoyed that little Chameleon review there. If you did, click the like button and the notifications, all those other buttons, anything you need to join the 6-1 clicks. Just click, click, click. And also, as I said, I will be releasing another review today as well. If you are interested in a modern review, then go ahead and watch it and let me know what is most appealing, because just like the best friends in AEW, you've got to give the people what they want. Folks, it's always been a pleasure, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior. Chill.